Hey guys, welcome to the new week. I'm back on to this new fresh day of Monday. Mondays are always rough for everyone, so let's get started. Well, we have today is that, of course, again, as I said before, I'm trying to just be a little bit more lax on the abortion stuff because, it gets tedious after a while and everybody just want to stop hearing it, blah, 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 and all this stuff. But, again, every time the abortion things come up, it's almost like I have to report on it because it goes to insanity to where it's almost like you can't not avoid it. The last one I think was a very important one, and then the other one, this one today, is also quite important. Although this was about 2 days ago on Saturday, which I was not working, so I was not able to release this type of information until today. But looks like we will be able to. So let's get started. Activists at homes of Supreme Court justices have broken a federal law that is very similar to what January 6th protesters have been charged with. And let's see if our government actually, follows suit to that and actually charges these people. A lot has yet to be seen. The pro-abortion activists who gathered outside the homes of conservative Supreme Court justices on Saturday evening appeared to have violated a federal statute that is very similar to the one that many January 6 protests remain held on over a year later. The protests were organized by a group called Ruth Sent to Us, along with one of Justice Brett Kavanaugh's neighbors, a woman named Lacey Wooten Holloway, though it is unclear if they were working together or both just happened to organize protests at his home at the same time. The organization had published the home addresses of the justices earlier in the week and called for people to join them to protest against the leaked opinion draft that will overturn Roe v. Wade. The scene in front of Chief Justice Roberts' house. Let's watch.
Keep abortion safe and legal. You don't care if people die. You don't care if people die. You don't care if people die.
Now, I understand that everybody has the right to protest, and I actively support protests in this matter. However, in this case, I do not agree with going to people's homes and protesting. You go to the government's places and you protest there or on other public streets, etc., but you do not go to people's homes directly and protest. It's a form of terror, it's a form of fear, honestly, and it doesn't really help anything. See, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. When people see you guys do this, it does not help you. It does not help to have them join your cause. It just makes you seem radical. It just makes you seem insane. It makes you look that you're not right in the mind. So people will actively want to distance themselves from you because you do this type of thing, and it incites fear. Now, maybe people can say, like, oh, wasn't that the Supreme Court, the Justice's house is like, okay, yes. But again, look at all the other houses that are around and look what it incites or looks to appear fear into those people's homes. Now, I don't know about you, but if I see a group of people of that size coming near my home, I am calling the cops and I'm going to make sure that my family or if I'm by myself is protected. Why? Because a group of that size, if it's not an actual event or anything that's being ready in the community, is considered a threat to me, and I think that's considered a threat to a lot of people that are there. Now, again, this is different with the government because you go to the government places, you have the right to protest, etc., and we have already seen that a lot of these activists, or some of these activists at the very least, have done violence, have shown violence. So what happens when this gets violent and more things start happening, like they start breaking cars, which they have been shown to do. They have actively gone to the lengths of destroying businesses that are anti-abortion. So it comes to show that, like, I don't think these guys are in good faith. A lot of people are not going to really want to follow suit in their insanity, and this just shows that their side is just more insane rather than being trying to address their concerns. And this is a problem, honestly. I don't see how these people are going to get anybody on their side. If anything, if I was a Supreme Court justice and these people were being this completely lunatic, now this could be completely against the law or not moral in the state of the law or laws in general, I would just be like, okay, so just to stick to the gun to you, I'm just going to change my vote to more agreeing with the side of going against Roe v. Wade, specifically because you're acting this insane. However, I could probably see what people's counterpoint is that, okay, well, if that's the case, why not could they just do that to other laws that would come into place or whatever? And I would agree that would be quite egregious to some. So I could understand the same different side's point of view. So I understand see that. But where I find a problem with this is that it's just a huge terror thing, a fear type deal, and I don't agree with that, especially at people's homes. Leave ordinary people out of it. Leave the people's families out of it. You do not go to their homes and threaten or try to instill fear into their family. That is not okay, and I do not endorse that. I don't even endorse the doxing part of it either. Don't dox. I honestly think doxing should just be illegal, 100%. If you dox people, then there should be a pretty strong jail for that, or a punishment for it. Unless justices who voted to overturn the abortion legislation change their minds, abortion laws will be handed back to the states when the opinion is signed. Woolton Hallway, a 39-year-old teaching assistant and aftercare staffer, told the Washington Post that if the conservative justices are considering rolling back a precedent that protects people to choose what to do with their own bodies, she says, then no home address is out of bounds. Yes, it is out of bounds. It's 100% out of bounds, because you don't just post people's addresses just because you don't agree with them. That's not okay. That in most places you either get the police called on you or you would get arrested or you would get shot or killed, because it's an active force of violence. It's a threat. It's not necessarily a violence, but it could be considered a threat, and people don't do well with threats. People have family, people have kids. They do not want that type of potential danger looming over them. It's not okay. The marchers have made it to what appears to be Justice Kavanaugh's house. The energy is markedly more negative outside Kavanaugh's house. The anger has become much more probable than outside any other justice's house. Of course, because again, this is thanks to the politicians that are actively endorsing the anger, actively agreeing with this type of behavior. They're causing this. I like how they wanted to assume President Trump was the one that that caused the January 6th thing to happen and that endorsed an insurrection, when in fact these are the people that are actually doing insurrection type stuff, endorsing violence. These are the people, like Elizabeth Warren actively has done this already, to where she was the one endorsing violence, and these are the people doing this. And by the way, guys, this is the Democratic side. I hardly see very little of the Republican side doing this. And again, a lot of people, when they come and watch my videos, they're gonna go and start saying, "Oh well, you always keep on saying the Democrats this, the Democrats that, and very low the Republicans." Okay, I agree. However, let me explain my reasoning. The reason why I say this is because I have not seen a lot of Republicans go to the insane levels that the Democrats have, or rather, we would go to the far left have if we want to be more closer to it. But when most people that that do these type of things identify or are on the Democratic side. So, the reason why I say this is because Republicans have done very little of this. And if I do see a Republican doing this type of stuff, or if I see a Republican doing anything that is negative, I call them out too. They're not innocent. I don't agree with everything on the Republican side. The thing is that the Democrats do majority of the evil stuff, the majority of the bad stuff. Because I know I even had a relative of that I know that I've talked to that have put me down to where my state of life is, by attacking me personally without attacking my points or any of my specific sayings of what I've said. They attack me personally rather than attacking my points. And they lie with the Democratic side. So again, they're more aggressive, they're more, I would say, mean in this aspect, because they don't, in order to prove themselves right, to make them feel like they're in the right, they have to attack you personally or threaten you at some level, because they have no defense. They have nothing that can align to what they say, because a majority of what they say is wrong. Now, I agree that we need to have an open discussion and we need to have people talk about things so we can understand. But when you start attacking people personally, their appearance, or rather their opinions or their points, the discussion's already over and you already lost your point. You are no longer a part of the discussion. You're now out of it because you're actively attacking somebody's personal life or person rather than their points. You already lost it. So, therefore, you don't have the right to discuss it anymore, in my opinion, because you have lost that discussion. Under the USC 1507, pickets or parades in or near a building, housing, and court of the United States, or in or near a building or residence occupied to you or used by such judge, juror, and witness, or court officer are prohibited when done with the intent of interfering with, obstructing, or impeding the administration of justice. The statute in full, whoever with the intent of interfering with, obstructing, or impeding, or impeding the administration of justice, or with the intent of influencing by any judge, juror, witness, or court officer in the discharge of this duty, pickets or parades in or near a building housing a court of the United States, or in or near a building or residence occupied or used by such judge, juror, witness, or a court officer, or with such intent uses any sound, truck, or similar device, or resorts to any other demonstration in or near any such building or residence, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year, or both. The law here is clear and very similar to the statutes that generally sex parties are accused of violating, many of whom remain in prison today. It's kind of funny how this specific law is very, very specific and very, very clear compared to some other laws. So it's just come on, guys. But I agree. This is like the No Say Gay bill. It's very clear and specific to what the law said. But this is the reason why you need to take an English history class or whatever. Or not English history, but English class in general, because you have to learn because we use these wordings because they mean a specific thing, and it's not words that we would use that would be out of context, or words that would mean kind of the same thing. No, it was very specific into wording because it means just this. So, I agree with this point. The large amount of defendants who were at the Capitol are charged with violating U.S. Code 5104, which bans, parades, demonstrate, or picket any offensive Capitol building, were conditionally charged under 18 U.S. Code and 1.1512, which prohibits protests that otherwise obstructs, influence, or impedes any official proceeding or attempts to do so. The main problem that law enforcement usually has is guessing the intent of the protester. The code section for picketing in front of the justice's houses requires the intent to interfere, obstruct, or impede. How can we know? We look at their language, their writing, so you can find evidence of the intent through looking at their social media. For example, a lawyer involved with some of the January 6 cases pointed out that though they asked to be quoted anonymously due to regulations about comments to the media. Because the media likes to take everybody's sayings out of context 100% of the time. And it's quite a trend with them. When asked if the protesters were clear in violation of the law or if there was a loophole, First Amendment expert and attorney Ron Coleman told Tim Cass that the case seems clear. If there's a loophole, is the big one for the First Amendment, but not likely. Time and place and manner restrictions on speech are constitutional when they're reasonable. What's unreasonable about these? Coleman asked. Despite residential protests being seemingly clear-cut violation of federal laws, the White House refused to condemn the activists or urge them to choose another location when pressed about it earlier this week. White House Press Secretary Psaki was asked about the issue by Fox News reporter Peter Doocy during Thursday's press briefing. I think the president's view is that there is a lot of passion, a lot of fear, a lot of sadness from many, many people across this country about what they saw in that leaked document, Psaki replied. We obviously want people's privacy to be respected. We want people to protest peacefully if they want to protest. That is certainly what the president's view would be. Doocy followed up by asking about the activists protesting at Justice home addresses. He doesn't care if they're protesting outside the Supreme Court or outside someone's private residence, Doocy asked. I don't have an official U.S. government position on where people protest. We want it, of course, to be peaceful, at Psaki added. So let's just see a little bit of this.
These activists posted a map with the home addresses of the Supreme Court justices. Is that the kind of thing this president wants to help your side make their point?
Look, I think the president's view is that there's a lot of passion, a lot of fear, a lot of sadness from many, many people across this country about what they saw in that leaked document. We obviously want people's privacy to be respected. We want people to protest peacefully if they want to protest. That is certainly what the president's view would be.
So he doesn't care if they're protesting outside the Supreme Court or outside someone's private residence?
I don't have an official U.S. government position on where people protest. We want it, of course, to be peaceful.
And there we have it. Except this is against the law. That's the difference. It's against the law. You need to hold up to your same standards that you call on people for the January 6th. If you're going to go after them, then you need to go after these people as well. By law, you need to. So, what we see here is that we're going to be going a little bit over this. I do want to get to the next thing. This video is going a little bit long. So, I'll try to see if I can get this done. Whether you're a Catholic for choice or ex-Catholic of other or no faith, recognize that 6 extremist Catholics set out to overturn Roe v. Wade stand at our local Catholic church. The group urged adding the hashtag War on Women and Mother's Day strike. Again, the Catholic Church they're extremely very far to the left, and they've been getting more left, and they're not really doing a good job. I think the church is not a good place to go to anymore in terms of, because they keep on preaching this activism, this very far left stuff, and it's not a war on women, and it's not anything of the sort, because you need to do research. The church should just focus on religious stuff and only religious stuff and stay the hell out of politics. But again, the church is getting into politics when they shouldn't be. Virginia Attorney General Jason Myers issued a statement on Saturday warning the protesters disrupting church services may violate state and federal laws. Federal law makes it a felony to intimidate, interfere with, or obstruct any person who is seeking to exercise his or First Amendment right of religious freedom at a place of religious worship, Myers continued. Similarly, Virginia criminal law prohibits obstructing the freedom of other persons, trespassing on church property, or obstructing proper ingress to and ingress from a church. My office will be monitoring protest activities directed at house of worship and will refer alleged criminal violations to the United States Department of Justice or the appropriate Commonwealth's attorney. And they will go on to say that it's not clear and all this stuff for to strike the choice votes and stuff like that. I would like to go to this next article, which is Nancy Pelosi applauds righteous anger of abortion rights activists in letter to fellow Democrats. This is the problem that I have with these people. Like, remember what I said, that when they actively were endorsing this type of stuff, well, here we have Nancy Pelosi endorsing the righteous to anger one. And this is a huge problem because specifically, you do not need to endorse anger. Again, Trump was accused of doing this, and now we have Pelosi, a Democratic person, a House Speaker, if you will, actively endorsing anger or some type of violence towards a certain group of people. This is not okay. So by their standards, they should be held accountable because of everything that they're doing that is actively endorsing anger or violence. It's hilarious because what they say, what somebody else does, is what they already do themselves. It's actually quite hilarious. Pelosi, the righteous of anger abortion rights activist, in a letter sent on Monday to fellow House Democrats to encourage them to carry on the fight against the pro-life movement. Pelosi's letter was just sent 1 week after a leaked majority opinion from Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito was published, revealing a potential overturning of the 1973 Roe v. Wade ruling. With this draft ruling striking down the nearly 50-year-old precedent of Roe v. Wade and undermining the constitutional right to privacy, Republicans would rip away women's right to make the most intimate and personal decisions if handed down. This decision by GOP-appointed justices would mean that, for the first time in our history, America's daughters will have less freedom than their mothers. Wrong. They would have the same freedom as their mothers. There would not be any change. It's just going to be due to the states. If anything, they're going to have more freedom. If I want to be honest, they'll have more freedom because it's going to be choice of the states. It's going to be will of the people representing it, not the government, which is the way it should be. Pelosi noted that the House passed the Women's Health Protection Act in 2021. Though the legislation failed in the Senate, on Wednesday, the House Speaker wrote that the Senate would again put the legislation up for a vote. Pelosi referred to expressions by pro-abortion rights activists over the past week as righteous anger. While we have seen and heard extraordinary anguish in our communities, we have been moved by how so many have channeled their righteous anger into meaningful action, planning to march and mobilize to make their voices heard, Pelosi wrote. Pelosi also thanked House Democrats for the commitment to abortion. Thank you for your powerful commitment to carrying on the right of all Americans, she concluded. The letter was just sent 1 day after the headquarters of pro-life organizing in Wisconsin was set on fire in what appears to be a politically motivated attack. The attack on Wisconsin Family Action, located in Madison, came days after the Supreme Court leak. As the Daily Wire reported, no one from the organization was in the building at the time of the attack, which included a Molotov cocktail that was thrown through a window and failed to ignite. Whoever was behind the attack set another fire nearby that burned part of a wall. Local media reported that graffiti was left outside the building that stated, "If abortions aren't safe, then you aren't either." Pelosi has not given up the fight for Democrats to vote in support of abortion in the Senate. During an interview on Sunday on that CBS program, Face the Nation, she spoke about the importance of the midterm election related to the issue. But I do think that it's put on urgency on what is happening in the election. One or two more senators could sweep back in the filibuster rule for this purpose, and then a woman would have the right to choose, she said. This is about something so serious and so personal and so just for a woman, she added. Yeah, but when you have people actively attacking and causing arson or threatening people or breaking things, that's no longer okay. That is considered a riot, and that is a threat. Yes, Pelosi. We understand that that women may have some problems, which I don't think women have hardly any problems in the first world country. I'll be honest with you, they're pretty damn free. If anything, it's men that have the bigger issues in today's society than anything. And of course, this will also mention this one thing before I let go of this video. This is going way too long. When it comes to abortion, men have no rights at all. We don't have a say. We don't get to do anything. We have no rights. The women could go and abort the child whenever the hell they want, and it's okay, while the man has no say. So you're going to talk about women's rights, but what about men's rights specifically, huh, Pelosi? Pro-abortion activists? Yeah, it's all fine with the women having those rights, but when it comes down to the men, yeah, screw them. Screw them. Well, guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Thanks for watching this clip from my podcast that I make every day, Monday through Friday. 3 o'clock p.m. PST to all the way to 5 o'clock p.m. PST. If you like what you see, please subscribe, like, and comment. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.